All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us on our men's event. This is just such an exciting time with the company Zyia Active right now. We are growing like crazy. At the time of this filming, we're actually going through the whole COVID-19 crisis. And it has been just so exciting to see our company thrive and grow so much in this time. I'll just speak from my personal experience. Like, our team is growing so fast right now, and there's so many different variables, but we literally are double our sales this month than we were last month. And I don't know any other company that can say that they're giving out bonuses and that we are doubling in size. It's just been absolutely incredible and just such a blessing to be able to have this as a resource to work from home when so many people don't have that opportunity. So one of the things that's on the horizon that we're really excited about with Zyia Active is the expansion of our men's line and the men that are coming and becoming representatives within our company. So with that said, we had more and more men reaching out to us wanting information. And so we invited our president, Zach Bradley, here to meet with us and to share a little bit more about the men's opportunity from a guy's perspective, answer any questions, and just talk a little bit more about the vision of the company and where we're going with the men's opportunity and how men can get involved with this very ground floor opportunity for men. So that said, I want to go ahead and turn it over to Zach. And Zach, I was wondering if you could just kind of maybe introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about how you got involved with Zyia Active and kind of how the company started. Oh, you're on mute.
Yeah, I realized that real quick. Well, first and foremost, thank you guys for having me. It certainly is an interesting time for everybody right now. And the fact that technology has allowed us to still talk and kind of explain the opportunity that we have here. And sorry, somebody's waving at me. It's amazing. And it's actually, we're very fortunate. As you were just mentioning, I will just talk really quickly about the company as a whole this month, because I think it's incredible. I think our enrollments are up triple this month over last month. Last month was our best month ever. This month, I think we'll end up anywhere from 60 to 70% up over last month. Where you guys as a team are up double, which is awesome. So it's a lot. It's amazing for me to see in such a trying and hard time for the whole world, not just each community, but I mean, this is worldwide, where we are seeing the Zyia family kind of come together and help so many different people, where we're fortunate enough where we have, where we've saved enough money for this very reason as a company. We're very frugal. We like to be able to pay bonuses out. And I think there's no better time now to be able to pay those extra bonuses than, you know, when people are either their hours are getting cut, they're being laid off, they're being furloughed, whatever it may be. It's been really, a blessing for us, and we've been fortunate to be able to see this. So just to kind of talk a little bit about that, but yeah, so my background is I've been in the direct sales industry for 15 years, different companies, a few different companies, but it was more of the supplement side. And my brother Jeremiah, who is married to Aaron, our CEO, Jeremiah is the chairman of the board. About 3-4 years back, actually now, we were looking at doing something different. We loved the direct sales space. We loved it just because it was kind of the only real environment out there that had a true level playing field for everybody, that it didn't matter what your schooling was, if you're a man or you're a woman, your religion, your race. I mean, really, if you wanted to be successful, it was just kind of what you put into it. I've worked in the banking industry, and it certainly wasn't that way. I know all of my friends have worked in different arenas, and it certainly doesn't work that way. I mean, there are so many prejudices, and they'll say there aren't, but there are. I mean, it really, and this was kind of that one area that the only thing to be successful was the work that somebody put into it. And we love that. And I've loved the direct sales industry and this space for so long because of that very reason. And so, 4 years back, as my brother and I kind of had been talking, we had been working in another company that we were leaving. We didn't trust the owners and those that had invested the money. And we were looking at different things to do. Aaron, just said, why don't we do activewear? And nobody was doing it. We didn't know if it would work. We thought it, Jeremiah and I both had other jobs. We were going to be doing another company, and it was kind of a hobby where, that first night when they called us to say, what do you think about doing something, direct sales, doing parties, but with activewear. what are your thoughts? And immediately my wife and I said, absolutely, that, that sounds awesome. I was traveling to Asia quite a bit just for the other company I was with. So I was able to, I said immediately, said, next time I'm over there, I'll go and check a bunch of different factories out, see what we can do. We want to make sure that we do it the right way. So it took us about a year. And like I said, when we first started, it was a hobby. I mean, it was one of those things where Aaron and Brenda could design the clothing. We could kind of get it out there. It was all word of mouth. We were able to receive an influx of money just from friends and family. Within 24 hours, we had more than what we needed. And so we got started about 3 years ago. It took us a year of just planning and getting everything ready. And about 3 years ago in February, so 3 years, 2 months ago, we opened. And from that day, we have just been on this roller coaster ride of growth and of excitement and just, beyond our wildest dreams and imagination. Not only a great product, but more than anything, we've been able to accumulate just a huge amount of good people. I think we're close to 25,000 reps now, and I've been in other companies, and I can tell you that the quality of people that we have here, men and women, is better than anything I've ever experienced in my life. Just good people. Obviously, when we started, it was only women's activewear. That was kind of what we wanted to focus on, but we realized really quickly that my brother and myself, both men, we needed activewear too, and that there was a huge space of men who were like, yeah, I want to be a part of this. I think this is amazing. When can you start to come out with menswear? And so little by little, about a year and a half ago, we started kind of dabbling in it, doing some stuff. We did a golf line. We did some CrossFit stuff, some running stuff. And it really has been over the last 6 months where every week now with our launches, we're launching new men's stuff. A lot of it's athleisure, a lot of it's office stuff. We'll do polos, still we'll do some golf stuff, obviously some stuff to work out in. What we did today, the launch today, those are my favorite pants by far that we've ever done. They're perfect for the office, for golfing, for walking, for anything. They're super breathable. You can wear them on a bike. And then I think next week's will even be even more exciting what we've got coming. But with that said, I mean, it took us a good year and a half. I mean, again, with the small investment we started with and kind of those hobby expectations when we first started, it was like, okay, well, let's do some stuff for women. But as fast as we grew and the amount of excitement that came from both sides, from the women saying, hey, my husband wants to do this, or the guys that would just contact and say, hey, if you can get some guys stuff, I'd love to do this. And so over the last 6 months, we've had way more of the men's line growing. And on top of that, we've had a ton of guys that have been joining. We've got guys rank advancing to some of our highest levels now. So that's just been over the last 6 months. And that's really where we've started to, put a focus on, is at our events, how do we get the guys involved, with what we're launching? How do we get more guys involved? And so it's been kind of long overdue, but it was one of those things where we wanted to do it the right way. And it wasn't just to get stuff out there. We wanted to make sure that we did it the right way. And so that's kind of how it's taken shape over the last few years.
Awesome. It's so exciting to see how the line has expanded since I've been a part of it. It's insane. So when you take a look at the men's line and other competitors in the marketplace, who would you say are the main competitors with Zyia men's line, and what would be Zyia's differentiation? What makes them stand out? What makes, them?
So I would say there's really only two that I know that I would say, yeah, they're probably close to what we do, and that's Lulu and a company called Roan. Both those companies, they obviously do activewear, but they also do office wear, kind of that stuff that you can wear both places, right? They'll do joggers, they'll do hoodies, they'll do nice seamless wear. But those are kind of the two that we look at. But when we look at the quality we're doing, we're still 30 to 40%, price-wise, less than either of them. And we feel like we've got the same quality. We're, like I said, Lulu does, because they're so big, they're launching more stuff probably than Roan. But either way, neither of them are launching stuff every week like we are. Neither of them give you that opportunity to, for one, get the product at the price that we are. We don't have any storefronts. I was walking the other day, well, not the other day, this was 6 months ago in New York City, and Roan had put in not to say anything bad about them, but they had a store in Times Square, and I can't even imagine. I mean, that is the most expensive real estate in the world. In the middle of Times Square, they had a store. And I thought to myself, I was like, I love their stuff. I think their designs are great, but I can't even imagine the investment they would have had to put in to put this store in the middle of Times Square. And so with that, where, you know, for one, we can lower those prices. We've got new stuff coming every week, same quality, but again, stuff coming constantly where it's something where we feel like we are there and more, if that makes sense. I think they both got probably more men's items than we do probably right now, but I think we'll get there, but our quality is as good, if not better. We've got new stuff every week, and you're getting the price 30 to 40% less.
So without having those types of retail locations and having a sales force, and the way that men sell is a little different than maybe how women socially sell, what are you seeing as the most successful sales strategies for men? Or what are the most successful men in the company? How are they building their businesses?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of them are they're working it, so and I want to make sure there's, so it's not just guys with guys and girls with girls, right? A lot of these guys are still enrolling women. Like they're going out there to find, you know, whether it's at the gym, whether it's work, whether it's friends, family, because we still, I would say for every you know, one guy that joins, we probably got 4 or 5 women that join, right? So just the odds are better in your favor when you're talking to women, just because the social aspect of it, right? But I still think that the best way to do it, and those that are having success are still, they're not just going, you know, talking to guys, they're talking to women and men. And it's a lot of it's done at the gym. Just, you know, wearing it, which is what's been very successful for women, because guys probably aren't as taking selfies, doing your videos on Instagram, Facebook. That's just not the guy thing to do. Probably most of them don't do it. But guys are very social, and a lot of guys are, hey, where'd you get that? They wear it. Once you're wearing it, you're getting it, and it still works that way. But a lot of it, again, is the guys who are most successful are still not only talking to men, they're talking to women and men. And I think that'll, until we get our line a little bit bigger, that may be the case. But you look at the direct sales industry as a whole, it's still 70% women, 30% men. But in the last company I had, we had probably 5 or 6 different guys that were making over $100,000 a month. And they were very successful. The direct sales industry is probably more, like I said, it's definitely predominantly women, but that doesn't mean that guys can't be successful. They certainly can be, especially with the product that we have and the way that we do the business. But again, it's more of that wearing the items. Guys always ask, hey, where'd you get it? Or, you know, they're still social. It's just a little bit different.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So in terms of, I mean, you mentioned some income from your previous company. What kind of income is on the table here? Is this just a little side hustle, or is there's some real meaningful income on the table here for guys?
And to be honest, I think that's where it's a great question, obviously. The income that can be earned is all up to whoever, you know, whatever you're putting into it, right? This isn't the lottery, and that's the first thing I'll tell everybody. It's like most people, if they end up quitting, if they end up not doing it, they sign up and, you know, 90 days later, it's like, this wasn't for me. It's because their expectations were not right. They didn't have real expectations of what it takes, right? 90 days later, like, I'm not a millionaire. What happened? This was a fraud. It's a pyramid scheme. But when you come in with realistic expectations, like, hey, this could take 36 months of putting in the hours, but after 36 months, if I'm making $10,000 a month residual every month, month after month, or if it's $20,000 month after month, $50,000 month after month, that's up to you. But yeah, obviously, we have people that make over $100,000 a month here. I've seen it over in other companies. These are $1 million a year earners, guys, girls, doesn't matter, whatever it is. So the sky's the limit. But again, I think it's so important to realize that this takes longer than 90 days. There are certainly people that are successful faster than others, but it's not like you just join and it's all done for you. So if you want to make an extra $500 a month, we've got a way to do it, right? This is what you have to do to get there. If you want to make $2,000 a month extra, well, this is how you do it. These are the things you need to do. If you want to make $5,000, $10,000, $50,000, $100,000, there is a step to do, or there's steps to do to hit each of those levels. But again, the sky is the limit. And I don't want to say, well, you can only make this much, or, you know, you're going to make $100,000 guaranteed by doing this. again, it's like anything out there. There's no guarantee. There's no magic bullet that teaches you how to do everything perfectly. But I do know this. If you follow the system and you put it in, you're patient and you're resilient with it, you will be happier with the outcome here than anything else you could have done. And like I said, I kind of give the same example every time. For some reason, people are willing to go to college for 4 years after high school, investing $60, $70, $80,000, come out with all the student debt before they get paid one dime, and they think it's okay. Yet with direct sales, they'll come in 90 days later after spending $500 on a starter kit or $300 on a starter kit. After 90 days, they're like, well, no, I'm not a millionaire. It's just because in their mind, they just think it's, for some reason, that the expectations weren't correct. But if we can tell somebody, hey, you can start making money immediately, but in 4 years, you could be making $20,000 to $30,000 a month residual. If those are your expectations and those what that's how long it's going to take, it's much easier. So that's why I say, there's people that have been in the company for less than 3 years. They're making over $1 million a year. Obviously that's not going to happen for everybody because it depends on what you're willing to put in it, and everybody's time frame is a little bit different. But again, it all depends. If you just want a couple extra $100 for spending money a month, fantastic, we'll get you there. If it's $10,000 a month to pay your mortgage, to pay your car bills or whatever it is, your credit card bills, we'll get you there. So it all kind of depends on what you're looking for.
Okay. So what would be the first steps for guys to go ahead and get started if they're interested? Like what are the first steps look like, and what's the investment like?
Well, the investment right now is we just switched it to $295, right? Is that what it is? It's $295.
Yes, in the United States, it's $295.
I forget between Canada and the U.S.
And it's $395 in Canada.
So $295. So $300, you get a starter kit. This is what we want. At the end of the day, we've got great product. We've got great activewear. We're coming out with stuff every week. That's a huge part. A lot of direct sales companies out there, they can't, literally they're coming out with a new product every year. Once a year at their convention, they come out with a new product that people love. Where we're able to do that every week is a huge, huge bonus. But to get started, it's a matter of, first, are you willing to put in the time? That's the first question you have to ask yourself. Am I willing to do what is asked of me? Because if not, then it's not worth it. You're going to have a bad taste in your mouth. We're going to look bad, and it's a bad situation for everybody. But from the very beginning, he's like, yes, my goals are this. I want to be doing this within 3 months. I want to be doing this in 6 months. I want to be doing this in 12 months, 24, whatever it is. And I'm willing to put in this many hours. Once you've said all that and you're good to go, then you say, okay, I'm willing to put in $300 to get, it's not just $300 that you give to the company and we keep it. You get something in return, $300, actually, I think $500 worth of clothing because you get a discount on the initial kit. So you're getting all this clothes, and then you're getting the gift certificate so you can kind of choose what you want. And then you kind of follow the steps, right? It's not complicated what you do. That's not to say it's easy. It's not a complicated system. These are the things you have to do. Now it's up to you whether you want to do it or not. But I think the very first thing is, why am I doing this? What is it that I want to get out of this? Every time somebody joins, anytime somebody wants to be a part of the Zyia family, it's, what is it? It's not money. Money is not the end game for anybody. Now, money can help you. So if it's, I want to travel more. What's your why? Well, I want to travel more. Great. We can give you the money to travel more. But you have to have a why. You have to have a why am I doing this? Because if there's no why, nothing will motivate you day in and day out to do the things, those extra little things that you would need to do to be successful. Money is not the ultimate motivator. Like I said, whether it's, I need to get out of debt, my student debt, whether we got credit card debt, I want to pay off our house, I want to go traveling, I want my kids to go to a nicer school, I want to do this or that. Those are the whys. If it's what to give to charity, whatever it is, you have to first get that why. Why are you doing this? Once you've got that, $300 is really insignificant. To have your own business, you try and go build your own business, doing something out, you're into it $100,000, $200,000 easy. So $300, we'd take care of all the stuff. Most direct sales companies will have you spend $10,000 and you got a garage full of who knows what. We don't want that. We take care of all of that. We'll hold all the inventory. You spend $300, and then as you're buying or as you're selling, it's drop ship. We take care of all of that for you. We're trying to make this as simple as possible. And I think that's why we are growing so much. We've kind of taken away the bad parts of what we think direct sales companies have not done well in the past. We've kept the good, and we've tried to change that to make it so that this is so much easier for somebody that has their own business, but that they can focus on the part that they want to focus on, which is going out there, and selling and trying to find, people that want to do the business with them, doing the parties. Now, obviously right now, nobody's doing in-home parties, but obviously through text message, Facebook, Instagram, all these different things can be done. But again, to get started, you're into it $295, which is $500 worth of clothing to get, so you can see what it is, what you're getting into. Hopefully you would have touched it or ordered something beforehand, said, yeah, this is something I like the quality, I like what they're doing. But at the end of the day, you have to make sure that you're willing to put in what it is. And I go back to that same word, realistic expectations. Are you okay knowing that this could take 12 months, 24 months, 6 months, maybe to get a few $100, or 3 months to get a few hundred extra dollars, but it's residual, which means it's coming every month. Does that make sense?
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, this has been some really great information. And I want to open it up now to questions. If there's anyone on who has any specific questions for Zach. Joe or Larry, Sarah, John.
I've talked so fast with so many words. Everybody is so confused right now. Nobody has any questions.
I don't have a question because I'm not a man and I'm already a rep, but I did want to welcome Larry, who popped in on the call in sort of towards the end, but I think he got some good information. And I also want to thank Joe for popping in. So thanks so much, everyone. I'd love to hear any questions.
Sorry, I was muted. I was trying to ask one, but what is like the rate of return in terms of the merchandise that you sell? Like, let's say you sell $2,000 worth of stuff. About how much of that do I make?
So what's typical? So it's kind of a hard. There's no real exact answer to that, because obviously, so what will happen is, depending on the level, depending on your rank, depending on how much you sell, that can change. What I can tell you is that as a company, we tend to pay out, which is pretty typical for direct sales companies or network marketing companies, is about 40% of sales is what goes back out in commissions to everybody, if that makes sense. So that doesn't mean that all of that is going to you. Obviously, that could go up to whoever sponsored you. If you have signed somebody up, whatever they've sold, there's a percentage that comes to you. And that's where you get into kind of the network marketing, where people are like, oh, it's a pyramid. Well, yeah, I mean, in a sense, every corporation out there is a pyramid. I mean, the CEO is certainly making money off of the guys at Walmart who are out there selling at the checkout stand. I mean, that's kind of how everything works. And it's the same here, right? So there's not an exact rate of return for everything. But I know that, Robin, you have the compensation plan. You can send it to him. But if he has any questions, like how it kind of more detailed, I don't want to, it's not confusing, but it's got some levels to it. They can kind of give it into you. But depending on if it's a party, depending on if you had a discount on it, there's a lot of variables to it. But that's kind of how we do it as a company. We send out a certain percentage every month. There's some months where we put bonuses on top of that, but there's no exact answer for a rate of return on every dollar that you would sell, if that makes sense.
Great question. And I will say, Zach, you're not going to say this about yourself. You're not going to say, oh, I'm so generous. But I will say that the company, as a representative, is so, so generous. And when he said that they have this budget set aside, that they pay this amount, the same amount as a percentage of sales every single month, they absolutely mean that. It's not like, oh, this month was a great month of sales, and we're just going to keep this extra income that we made as a company. For example, last month, they just added 5 or 10% to everyone's paycheck in the entire company as a thank you and as a stimulus for us. We didn't ask for it, but there was a surplus and they knew there was a need there, and they rewarded us and blessed us with that. So the company does things like that all the time in so many different examples, and we're just so grateful. So they are very, very generous with their compensation. Any other questions? It was a great one.
I have a question. So I saw on the website that the Utah Jazz cheerleaders or dancers are sponsored somehow. So I'm actually really interested. I am not interested in doing home parties. Robin can tell you that's like my worst nightmare. I feel like I kind of think more like a guy. Like I'm like, yeah, I'll go to the gym. You wanna see something cool? This is what I'm wearing, like kind of thing. I train more men. my son plays college football. Like I'm kind of in this boy world. If I wanted to try to like involve and get teams on board, I want to know a little bit more about how to do that and the best way to go about doing something like that, because I don't see myself as someone who's gonna have a ton of home parties or anything like that. It's just not how I would work.
Perfect. So great question. Yeah, we are the official sponsor of the Utah Jazz Dancers, and we've been that for a couple of years. We have about 3 years left on our contract, and hopefully we keep going. We love the partnership. It's awesome. We've actually been contacted by a number of other NBA teams. We've been contacted by NFL teams. Obviously, any sponsorship means that we're paying out money. If we pay out more money in sponsorships, that means that we pay out less in commissions, which is what we don't want to do. We feel like that the one that we've done with the Utah Jazz, it gives us credibility, which is what we wanted. This was 2 years ago, especially when we started. So realistically, it would be very hard. Like I said, we've had a lot of people that reach out. We have people reaching out every day, but all those go into a marketing budget. Our marketing budget is our reps. That amount that we pay to our reps is our marketing budget. Where other companies, they have their marketing budget, they have their in-store budget, they've got their storefront, but all these different things that we don't have, so that we're able to pay these, bonuses and these commissions out that other companies don't do. So realistically, it's probably not something we could do. That's not to say never, but it's a tough one for us just because all of those different sponsorships need money that we would rather be giving to our reps than to a sponsorship, if that makes sense.
Zach, from a representative level, not on a corporate level, but from a representative level, what advice would you have for Sarah in terms of how to maybe connect with the local football team or whatever it might be? I know we've had some reps that have done some bulk orders for cheer teams and things of that nature. So I guess what advice would you have for how reps could do something like that?
I think that's a great question. We do it's the funniest thing, like the way that our relationship works with the Jazz, we obviously, are their sponsor, but they're required to buy from us a certain amount every year. We have a lot of people that are very successful with cheerleading teams, with dance teams, college, high school level. And it's basically, they cold call. And I know that sounds crazy, but they'll just call and say, hey, I know that you've got to buy uniforms for the year. Have you thought about this? I can probably get it cheaper than what you can get through Nike or Adidas. They're really cute. A lot of people want our leggings. I mean, the Lightning Tight leggings are so good that most of the time when these cheerleading or dance or whatever it is teams, they try, they're like, yeah, this is, Nike doesn't have this, Adidas doesn't have this, Under Armour doesn't have it. I'd love to do it. And we can usually, obviously, through your discount and the different things, we get them a good price. So it's a matter of, like you said, Kelly, we've got so many people. That's a huge part of what we do is these dance teams. Obviously right now it's a little tough just because everything's on standby, but once things get going back to the new normal, hopefully, it's one of those things where, it may not be a full sponsor, but you could certainly sponsor them with clothing or help them get fitted or clothes for the new year, whatever it is.
Yep. And Sarah, we've also done fundraisers that way too. So that's kind of a good inroad for teams that are fundraising for different things. You can open up a party for other people to buy and give a portion back to their organization. So that's another way we've been able to start those relationships.
Hey, Zach, you mentioned just the rapid growth of the company. Is there any numbers that you can share, regarding the last couple of years, even like percentage growth, reps growth, and what you guys are anticipating or forecasting for this year? Obviously, we're in a little bit of a hiccup now, but as you just mentioned, and as I've watched Kelly's business, I mean, you guys have just absolutely blown up during this crisis with COVID-19. But is there some numbers that you can share there?
Yeah, absolutely. These are some of the numbers that we've shared. Actually, the last 2 months, I think, this month and last month are way beyond what we imagined. We obviously were expecting the worst, like everybody was. We were expecting sales to drop considerably. We had thought they could drop in half, and that would be we were expecting everything. We'll end up double this month what we did in February, which is pretty incredible. We are just over the last 12 months, we're up, I think, 600%. The 12 months before that, we grew, I think it was like 550%. And then the 12 months before that was about another 500%. So We obviously know we can't keep up this kind of growth, because if it is, within about 2 years, we'll be bigger than Apple, but we cannot grow 500% year after year. But obviously the growth curve and the exponential growth we're having right now is, there's certainly a lot of momentum. Like I said, our reps, we used to have, oh man, let's see, it would have been, 4 or 5 a day. We have 300 to 400 reps joining right now per day. April has been huge, like I said. I think a lot of people out there are looking for an extra source of income. And, direct sales, there's this saying that it's the anti, well, it's anti-recession, if that makes sense, because when there's a recession, and again, hopefully we don't hit depression level. It might. I hope it doesn't, for everybody's sake. But we're pretty anti-recession, because when there is a recession and people are starting to make less money, they need that second source of income, and that's where a direct sales company comes in. But I know I've said that word a lot. The funny thing is I don't even consider us a direct sales company. It's weird. We pay commissions. We, the way our compensation plan is set up, but we're so much more than that. And that may come across as a cliche or as this and that. But at the end of the day, most direct sales companies have a lot of people that have done direct sales before. We've grown just like, we didn't have any leaders from any other companies or anybody that really knew what they were doing. We just kind of grow organically from the very beginning. And I'd still say 90% of our reps had never done direct sales before. They'd never even thought about doing it. They didn't want to do it. They hated the whole network marketing industry, but they loved activewear, and they saw how easy this was to do. You just wear the clothes. People ask you, whether it's PTA, whether it's Costco, whether it's at work, wherever it is, people just ask, hey, it's really cool. Where'd you get it? Well, it's really easy to start the conversation that way. But going back to your question, it's the amount of growth we're having right now. Again, the exponential curve has been pretty incredible, but I think we're up over last April. We'll end up close to 3 times the revenue we did last April. I don't think that will, again, we've been proven wrong month after month with how amazing our reps are. So who knows, that may change, but to be up 3 times over, so, over 12 months ago at this rate with the revenue we have is pretty incredible. And the nice thing is that we can cash float. We have no debt. We are very frugal in the way we do things, obviously without the storefronts. We're very numbers based. So we make sure that we've always got enough product. The only thing we're doing right now is we're air shipping more than we probably would like to. But again, at the end of the day, that's the worst. I mean, if that's the worst thing we have to do is air ship more product here where it's more expensive, we're willing to do that. And we'll obviously do that. But a year ago, with our growth rate, there were days when things were selling out on a Wednesday, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, everything was gone. The nice thing is we've been able to put in so much of that investment, so much money into making sure that, that doesn't happen and that people can get what they want. And I think that's where that growth has come from, is that, again, it's a great company. It's a great community. It's a great family. We love each other. It's awesome. There's just that great feeling. But at the same time, every week we've got 5 to 10 new items. So if you didn't like something this week, maybe next week you will, or those customers that you have. I've been in companies before where literally, and this is pretty typical for network marketing direct sales, 80%, I've got less than a minute, so this is going to cut off. 80% of the sales from a company come from the reps, and 20% are customers. We're the exact opposite. We have 20% of our sales come from our reps, 80% are customers, and that is very healthy. That's the way you want to build a company. So hopefully that answered it.
Yeah.
Thank you again so much, Zach. This has been so helpful. Thanks everybody for joining us. And if you are just checking out the opportunity, go back to the person that invited you on and they will hook you up with starter kit. So have a great one.
Guys.
Bye everybody. Thanks.
Bye everybody. Thanks.
Stay safe.